Hey, good evening. It's Sandy with Quilted Treasures and More here. I hope you've had a great week and a really good weekend. And I know we've had some crazy weather here in the deep south today in lower Alabama. It's been a little rainy on and off, so always makes for an interesting afternoon whenever you want to be outside and getting some things done. But, well, get some things done inside instead. Or at least that's what I've been trying to do this weekend, trying to catch up. Last weekend we had the craft show and Quilted Treasures and More was there. And I got to talk to quite a few people and just had a good time hanging out and meeting folks and uh, sold a couple of door hangers and, talked to some more folks and grabbed food here and there and looked at booths and so we had a good time. We had a really good time. I missed being with y'all last week, but by the time you pack everything up and pack it all in the van and you get home and you unpack everything, you're just like, I posted a picture of somebody under a pile of boxes, and that's about how I felt. Like I had been stuck under a pile of boxes by the time we got home and unpacked everything. So, what's been going on this week besides the craft show? Well, the first part of this week, we started looking at. Um, test cuts for laser cut and laser etched door hangers. So this is the first test cut. So it's a little rough. It's the one I'm painting tonight. I'll go ahead and tell you that because when you see it, you're going to be like, what is that? Because I've already base coated it. So I wanted to show you it before it was base coated. So we've done a good bit of tweaking with the laser cuts. And so I think we are just about settled on a really close final settings to get these door hangers cut in a really precise and really nice looking setup. So, but this was the very first one. So I'm going to be painting it tonight. It's a truck, and of course, it's the back view. There's a beehive, and also a honeycomb with a little bee there in the back. All right, so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. And like I said, when you look at it, you're going to be like, what is that? It's the same one you just saw. I base coated it, and so the lines do kind of disappear. But here's the thing, they still shine through. I know it's a little tough to see. I'm going to hold him up just a little bit. The thing is, with the light bouncing off of it, sometimes it's a little hard to see in the camera. But it's different from using the magic markers and tracing and all that good stuff. So a little bit different, but I'm excited because the door hangers are more precise in their cuts and they're going to be cleaner and crisper in their cuts. So, you know, I, I I can do a fairly good line with a jigsaw, and I have for the last year. But I'm excited about this step for quilted treasures and more. All right, so this particular door hanger, of course, the majority of the templates that you see me use and cut from are from shopdoorhangers.com. And so this is one that I got. Actually, I want to say it was in the fall of last year that I got this template in a template bundle that I get from shopdoorhangers.com. And so it's but it's good for year round. It's not one of those that's seasonal. Well, I guess it is kind of. You wouldn't want to use it like at Christmas if you just want to be, over exaggerated about it. But this one works well through the spring and the summer, and I guess you could keep it up in the fall too if you wanted to. It depends on how long you like to keep up door hangers. I tend to change mine out. Well, I say here recently, within the last year or two, I've done better about changing out. I go through spurts where I'll change them and decorate, and then all of a sudden I hit a spell, and it's like, that looks good. We'll leave it up there for a while. So I have a paint party coming up. Oh, I had a paint party this past Friday night. Awesome group of ladies. We had a great time. It was a summer themed paint party, and I'll be posting a couple of pictures here and there. And I so enjoyed, so So thankful for Lizzie opening her home to the group of ladies and all of us having such a great time painting and laughing. And uh, we even had a couple of moments where we scared each other. It was funny. We had someone who was stapling the hanger on the back of the door, and we weren't ready for it, and I guess none of us were really paying attention, and it just echoed really bad. So we all jumped and kind of ah. So it was funny, but we had a great time. All right, so we're gonna get started on this truck with the little bee and the beehive in the back, and we're just going to jump in here and get this going. I'm going to get my little picture up here so that way I can kind of see, make sure I stay on track with my colors. So I'm going to push him off to the edge. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me backtrack 1 minute and make sure that everything seems to be going okay over here. Okay, I think so. Everything looks good. All right. I have to check with Facebook because sometimes when I check the little camera in the corner, it freezes. But I've discovered that I just keep going because I have people tell me, "Oh yeah, it's still going." So I'm not sure why it freezes on my computer, but I do check it every now and then just to be sure. All right. And if I do not catch your comment, I will answer or respond to any questions afterwards. I try to check them throughout the live here, but sometimes I'll get sucked into what I'm doing and I forget to click over because the questions and comments are actually on a different screen from what I use in order to have this camera view and this camera view. All right, so our little beehive and truck here. Um, we're going to start out with gray. It's our lightest color. So we're going to jump in here with gray. We're going to get I don't always start with the lightest color. I've told y'all that before. I do sometimes, and then other times I'll just jump in with a color and go with it, and then later on be like, oh man, I should have done this in order of lightest to darkest. So let me let me move one thing out of the way. I thought I was going to be able to keep that up there, but I'm not because now I see that you can't see what I'm painting. So starting out with a bumper, and I'm not really worried about if I hit the tire because the tire will be black, so any of the gray that gets on the tire, it will be all right. Y'all, I feel like it's been forever since I was on a Facebook Live. It's funny how if you miss 1 week that it just feels like it was so long ago. I know a lot of us have been that way around church with all the COVID stuff. We finally got to start back and do some different things, and we've been doing that for a while. It's not like we just started, but it's just kind of crazy how you feel like, oh my goodness, it's been forever since I've seen anybody, and even now we're not doing all of our regular routine at church, so it still feels kind of weird because you're not seeing folks as regularly as you would if you had your typical um, Sunday school and Wednesday night service and things like that. So, all right, I've got just a little bit of white here on this tag, and so um, I'm just going to use that same gray or same brush that I used for the gray. Not the same gray, the same brush that I used for the gray. So the laser cut door hangers are something that we have been talking about and trying to get worked out for a little while here, and things started just kind of happening. I don't know, I guess it started in February, And so we were really excited, but you know, you don't want to say too much about, you know, things that might possibly work out because you, I guess in a way you don't want to jinx it, not to sound superstitious, but you know, you want everything to go smooth and go right, and so you mention it here, mention it there, but you don't say a ton about it. So that's about how we've been doing. We've talked a little bit about the possibility, but we waited until we knew that things were really going to work out and we were going to get to work with uh, with having these cut with the laser. So I'm excited. The test cut, this was the test cut, the very first one that was done, and you know, it needed a little tweaking, and some tweaks have been done throughout the week, and more test cuts have come through, and we've looked at them, and so we're getting really, really close. So I'll say that much. All right, so we've done the bumper, which is gray, and I'm going to put another coat on it here in just a second because it's almost dry. Did the white for the license plate. Next, we're going to be going to the truck, and the truck itself is actually a green color. So we're going to be working with a light green color. And then, of course, yellow for our bee and our little honeycomb that's here in the back of the truck. All right, so I'm just going to hit this one more time with the gray because it dries pretty quick. Get another coat on here, and then we will move to the truck itself. All right, so don't forget, if you spread the love to family and friends with the video here, sprinkle the love, and come back and comment sprinkled or spread. Sprinkled, I guess, is the key word that I'm kind of been using. Then your name will go into a drawing for Mailbox Delight at the end of the month. And I will be announcing our April, yeah, April. I didn't think about, wait a minute, what month am I in? It was, yeah, second day of May. I'll be announcing our April Mailbox Delight winner here shortly. All right, I'm going to pull this back down just a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to get started on the truck. And I am probably going to stick with the same brush. It seems to be a pretty good size. Sometimes I'll change, you know, bigger size brush in order to cover more area if I've got a bigger area. But this one seems to be doing okay. Now, if you saw the original cut, meaning that it was not base coated with the white, you're probably thinking, what happened to the words? Well, the word welcome is still here, and I'm just gonna paint right over it. And I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, how are you gonna see it? Well, actually, with it being etched, you can see through the paint where that has been etched. So you know how if you've watched very many of the videos, you've seen where I've painted over the Sharpie marker in the past. And so this is basically the same thing. It's just not marker. It's actually the pattern etched into the wood. And this green will require another coat. So, and actually I may switch to a bigger brush when we come back to this. I actually thought the tailgate had a different shade in the center part here, but it does not. Now, if you like to shade things, you could actually make the just this inside portion a little bit lighter if you like to do the shading. It's not something you have to do. It depends on what the project is as to whether or not I do more highlights or if I do shading. Oh, y'all, speaking of giveaways, I talked about the Mailbox Delight giveaway. Have you seen the post where we reached our 100 follower mark for Quilted Treasures and More, the business page? Um, oh my gosh, I was looking the other night. I was so excited. I was like, oh, we're at 100. We're at 100. So I'm like, hey, I get to do a giveaway. So I have, if you have not seen it, I think you can go back one post, one or two posts before this video and find where it has the link where you can register for the giveaway, the thank you giveaway for helping my business grow by helping me reach 100 followers. I appreciate when y'all spread the word with family and friends. I appreciate that very, very much. All right, I'm just going to turn this around. I prefer to turn as I'm working the project. I actually have a Lazy Susan type gadget underneath my door hangers, and so uh, while I'm painting, if I'm just working on a door hanger project, I actually spin it around. To me, it's I don't know. I have less of a risk of becoming covered in paint because I have been known to wear a good bit of paint, my arms, my shirt. I think somehow I ended up with it on my nose one time. I think I remember my daughter telling me, "Mommy, you have paint on your nose." I'm like, "Great." So if you missed the link, like I said, you can scroll down and prior to the video, you should see where there is a link that you can click on and register for the giveaway. Now, I will tell you that in registering for the giveaway, there are daily entries. And so it's not just like a once and done kind of thing. Come back each day and you'll increase your number of entries. So, all right, I'm going to come around this way and go to this side and work on this side. Make sure I'm still on camera. I have to watch. I keep saying I'm going to either get one more piece to the stand for my overhead camera or I'm going to find a stack of books. One of the two. And I have yet to do it. I was looking at it a while ago. I was like, oh, I could. And then I looked at the clock and I was like, no, no, no. Let's not try to do this now. We'll attempt this next week. So maybe next week we will shoot for. I think that is green as well. Let me look at the picture. There's one little section here that I'm looking at and I'm going, is that green or is that? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Because I'm like, oh man, I don't want to paint this and then come back later and go, oh no, it was supposed to be yellow. All right. I'm just going to straighten that up just a little bit. And then there's one little piece over here Get back on camera. One little piece over here that is supposed to be green. All right, and now looking at it, the majority of this is dry, so I'm just going to start back over with my next coat. And I said I was going to change brushes, but you know, sometimes we just go with what we've got. So we're just working to get this other coat of green onto our truck. And this can be done in this actually looks a little darker on camera than what it is with me sitting here looking at it. It's a lighter green, but it looks darker. You could lighten the green up with a little white if you wanted it to be just a little bit more of a springy green. This is actually called foliage green, so it's already a spring green color. But if you wanted it any lighter, you could add a little white to it to make it a little lighter green if you didn't have a lighter green handy. All right, so I'm just going to spin this around a little. And I can still see the letters through. I don't think it's showing up that well on camera, but I can still see the word welcome shining through the paint. So when it comes time to do my word, all I got to do is follow the lines and get him squared away. Get around the little tail light here. Turn him sideways. Get around the mirrors with a second coat. Now, once we finish the second coat, I'm going to start on the beehive because I believe that's my next darkest color. Or not darkest. Goodness, I'm going backwards, y'all. It got really, really dark while ago here, and it looked like the bottom was about to fall out. And I told my husband Billy, I said, you know what? I might have to have a cup of coffee to stay awake. So I decided I would get up and do something. So I grabbed some clothes and started folding them. So I woke up. I still may get another cup of coffee though. It's funny. I don't know what it is about rainy days. A lot of times I'm like, I just want another cup of coffee. Go with the rain. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Maybe it's just my oddity. I don't know. Okay, y'all. I'm out of paint again. And it's like, really? I am down to the last. It's like when you get chip and dip. And I know if you're like me, I can already hear you going, oh, yeah. You know, you get the chips, you get the dip, you eat them, and then the next thing you know, there's chips left and no dip. Or there's dip and no chips. And you're like, it can't be left this way. Again, I may just be the odd person here. So you either have to go back and get more chips or get more dip. and then hope that you get the right ratio that time. Otherwise, you're going back again. Then people start looking at you funny, like, why are you going back again? I still have dip, or I still have chips, and this just can't be. All right, let's see. Next color. I don't want to go to red yet. Red would be the tail light, so I'm going to save that till we get toward the end. I think, oh y'all, I had another gray, but you know what? I grabbed the darker gray, and I need there he is. See if I can get him without knocking everything down. My lighter gray. I need my lighter gray for the windshield. Okay, I'm gonna get a different brush because if I don't, um, then that's gonna end up looking weird. All right, I'm gonna turn this to the side. I dropped a little piece of paint right there. And now he's dried. That's okay. I think we can get him off with a baby wipe. All right, if y'all are making comments, just remember I'm in a different screen from the comment screen. So if I don't acknowledge, I'll check that screen in just a second. Okay, we're going to go with that. All right, let me check my other screen real quick. Hey, Miss Cindy. I'm so glad you're here with me. I missed saying hello to you last week. So I am glad you're here. Miss Cindy was our winner last month of our Mailbox Delight. Okay, I'm going to get a smaller brush for this because I've got to do some kind of tight spaces here in between the B and so I am just going to work in my tight space. And it's not that I didn't think that brush would handle the task, because it would. I could turn it sideways and get it in here all right. But because I already had the green on that brush, I did not want to risk that getting into the gray. All right, so get a little more of my lighter gray here. And I'm just going to come down right beside my beehive and the honeycomb. And if you're wondering what I'm painting, this is the back windshield of the truck. And you could paint this white. There's enough color going on with the hive and with the bee that you could paint the back window white if you wanted to. I've just always used gray for the windows. All right, now on this side, now this is the point I was worried about, because with that other brush, that it may have been just a little too wide, because right there by that part next to the hive, it gets kind of tight in there. I was telling y'all that this was the first test cut that we were given for laser cutting, and So the lines are a little bit thinner than what I would consider standard lines for a door hanger. So, like I said, that was tweaked several times this week, and there are some other test cuts that we looked at, and I think we are just about to a point where we're happy with the settings that we're going to be finalizing. So, all right, I'm just going to run back over this real quick. And get our back windshield all taken care of. And so if you missed the very beginning where I showed you the cutout before I base coated it, with the base coat on there, of course, it's hard for the camera to pick up the lines. I can see the lines where it's been etched, where the design has been etched into the wood, but it's hard for the camera to pick them up. So as I'm painting, it's kind of neat because you're getting to watch watch it unfold where you don't necessarily see it too well, the lines too well on the camera view. All right, so we're going to get this last little mirror over here. Okay, and now we're going to move to the beehive. Now this one I'm going to use, I think I'm going to go ahead and get a bigger brush, and I'm going to use kind of a terracotta color on this. And I know you're probably thinking, beehives are not terracotta colored. My beehive is. I'm going to try something real quick. Hang on. Give me just a minute. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nope, that's not it. It's not the one I want. This might be a disaster. We're playing scientist in the middle of a painting. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to see what this looks like. I'm going to mix, because that's a little more orange than what I was hoping for. The terracotta color is not what I would call a terracotta. Yes, I did use the end of my paintbrush to mix that up, in case you were wondering. All right. See if this is more of what I'm looking for. We're going to go with it for a few minutes and see what we come out with. Maybe one of those deals where the more I put on there, the more I like it. We'll see. You could actually do the beehive just brown, or you could do it, you want to be careful because you're going to have the honeycomb, which is going to be a really bright yellow. I'm actually using what they call sunshine yellow. So I'm coming right down beside those lines that make up the honeycomb. I may try putting just a little more brown color in this for the second coat and see how it turns out. Turn him this way a little bit. Now what's funny is when you mix paints like this and then you start to run out and you're like, ooh, now I gotta try to mix and recreate what I just did. All right, so I'm gonna put that much terracotta. Actually, I call it terracotta. That's not its real name, but it looked like terracotta when a terracotta pot whenever I got it. I was like, hmm. All right, let's see what this looks like. I may have gotten just the exact same thing, which, you know, hey, I couldn't have done that again if I wanted to. And just for fun, I may water down a little a brownish color and go over it and see what it comes out like. You gotta have fun with this sometimes and just kind of play around with it. And sometimes it's like painting and sometimes it's like science. Sometimes you're creating it all as you go along. So we're getting to the top of our hive here, and I'm just kind of taking the brush and running it along the side. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my brown that I used in the tray where I had the orange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of water in it. Maybe just a dab more. Mix it up and thin it out a little. See what we come up with. It's hard for me to tell from this angle. Turn it and look at it from the other way. So it's going to be an interesting. It's going to have some layers shining through, so it'll have some darker points in some places and lighter points in others. But that's okay. I've never seen a perfect beehive, to be honest with you. All right, I'm gonna dip in just a little bit of water because it feels like the paint is getting a little thick. And so I'm just gonna go and brush it with that slightly wet brush. If you didn't want a darker colored beehive or a brown look to the beehive, you could always add some white and go the opposite direction from what I decided to go with. So mine's on the darker side, but the yellow is getting ready to make it pop. So actually, I think I'm going to do, there's one little part of the bee, his wings that are blue. And so I'm going to go ahead and get the blue color in. And then that way I can focus on the yellow. Hmm. Let me think for a second. If I do that, then what I'm afraid of is I may end up with a green honeycomb. No, we don't want that. But then, of course, my typical trick, just grab a different brush and go with that. Oh, let's just do the honeycomb. We'll just go with that next. And it's going to be bright, bright yellow honey. I do have a metallic gold I could put over to kind of make it shimmer. And some people may say, well, but honey probably should have a little more brown color to it. Well, this one's just going to be really bright. You could add a little brown to it and darken it up, or look for a true honey color. Or if you prefer, if you want the gold color, you could take the gold and um, your honeycomb would have a shimmer to it for sure. If you wanted to just use straight gold on the honeycomb. So that would be interesting. All right, let me see which way they have our little bee here. His head, so yellow, black, yellow, black. Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure before I started. Last thing I want to do is get him out of order. Turn the brush sideways to make sure that I keep right in my little area here. I missed a very small part of the glass right there, so I'll have to go back and touch that up. Okay, so let me go over one more time. And get the yellow nice and bright here. And a lot of times I'll follow pictures and sketches that I find or that I get along with my template bundles. But you can make the truck any color. You can make it purple. You can make it blue. You can make it a darker green. You can make it red. The beehive, you can make a dark brown or a light brown. I suppose if you wanted to do a really psychedelic one, you could make the beehive a neon color. It's so funny watching some of the neon stuff come back because I remember being in elementary school and all the neon colors being in style and all that good stuff. So, you know what? I have a small spot right here on the beehive that's going to bother me because it is just a little bit thin. So I'm going to touch him up real quick before I move on. Sometimes that happens when you're painting. If you get a little too anxious, like I do sometimes, I'll start over and putting a second coat on, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's get the second coat on, and I get ahead of the drying process, and then I kind of push the paint around rather than actually getting the paint on there. And when you start to push the paint around, then you get these little gaps, and so you have to go back and fill them in. All right, before I move to the red, I'm going to do his blue wings and give him little blue wings. Won't need too much because the wings are not very big. And so I am going to actually use a filbert tip brush on that. And the filbert tip is it's a flat brush. You can see it's flat, but it's rounded on the end. And so it works really well with doing the corners. Not corners. I'm so sorry. Curves. Maybe I should add that other cup of coffee. I usually just do 1 cup a day in the morning, get the day started. Everything's good. But I don't know. The rain came through a while ago and I was just thinking, all right, so there's his wings. I'm going to put that in water. I'm going to check that back in just a second. While I am, let's see. Oh, good. I do still have a little bit. I'm going to take this, and I am actually using just the very corner of the brush and getting just that itty bitty part of that back window right there above the bee. All right, we've got the blue. I think I'm going to leave the blue for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and do the red tail lights. Now for this one, I'm going to get an even smaller filbert tip brush because those circles are smaller. Red's always one of those colors that you usually end up doing 2 coats on. Some of your darker colors you can get away with one, but most of your colors, you're going to end up putting 2 coats. And again, if you've been around the Quilted Treasures page very long, you'll know that I tend to put 2 coats on everything anyway. Just because I like to make sure that the door hanger's covered well in paint and that the colors are solid. And there I go moving around paint again. That one didn't move around. Oh, goodness. All right, y'all, I think we are up to the black, and then we will just have our highlights and outlines to do. Yes, we are. We are up to the black. So the tires, and then we have to do a door, and I'm going to sketch that out with you know what? I'm not going to sketch that out. I'm just going to draw a half black circle up there, and that's what we're going to go with. Okay, so the B, the opening, and the tires, and then of course our word welcome. And then we'll just have our outlines to do. All right, let me check real quick to see if I have missed anybody. All right. And if the comments have not updated and you're thinking, she hasn't said anything to me yet, I am not seeing but one comment. So I apologize. Facebook does some crazy things sometimes when it is live. It does not it doesn't update all the time. So a lot of times I have to catch comments after the fact. All right, I am going to go back to my bigger brush that I used on the beehive, and I'm going to use that for the tires. So we're just going to come across and go ahead and draw us a line across there. And get started on the tires. Next week, I am going to do a set of patriotic flip-flops. And I am probably, I will have the bows because I put bows on the straps for those. I'll have everything here to do the bow. Whether or not I have time to actually walk through making the bow, we will see. But am I still in camera? No, I am so sorry. Next week, I'm going to try a different camera angle. I'm constantly tweaking all this stuff because it's like, you know, there's got to be a different angle, a better angle. There's got to be a different setup. And then, of course, you run across issues where cameras want to freeze or microphones want to do crazy things. And my computer fan wants to run a lot. Sometimes. Now, this evening, it's not running, but I have times when it wants to run a lot. And when it does, it sounds like I have a waterfall behind me. So even though the computer is in front of me. Okay, so there's the tires. And I know that was kind of off screen. I apologize. I keep having to move all my stuff, and I have got I've got paint bottles actually sitting up here, so I can't push my door hanger up tonight. I'm like, All right, I'm going to find me a smaller flat brush for this because our little bee here, he does not he does not have a lot of space here. So I don't want to run over everything else, but I want to make sure that I get the little black bands, and of course his little stinger here. Get in my lines. All right. Now I'm going to turn it around this way. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start and I'm just going to freehand this, y'all. I am just going to make half a circle. And no, it's not the prettiest circle. But I am going to build off of what I've got here. So personally, I want him to come over just a little more. So just working on our hive opening. Now from where I'm sitting, it looks more like what I want it to look like. But as soon as I look up in the camera view, I'm scared to know what it's going to look like. Different angle, different view. So, hey, it's not as lopsided as what I thought it would be. All right, we can go with that. All right, now I'm going to do the welcome in black as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find my just a round brush, a round tip brush. Where is my nope, that's not him. Is this him? Numbers, nope, that's not him either. Oh, where has my little brush gone? I'm looking for, oh, is this him? Yes, it's a number 4 round brush. It's one of my favorite round brushes to use, and it's just a round one. And so I like using I like using the number 4 size. And what's crazy is not all just because I say it's number 4 in this particular brush brand doesn't mean that when you look at your craft supply store or uh, the craft aisle at the local hotspot that every brush number 4 is going to be like this one. I wish it worked that way, but it does not. So I'm just taking my round brush and I am just going between the lines that that are cut here for the word welcome. Now, most of the time I will start toward, it's usually a very good habit to get into to pull paint toward you rather than try to take the brush away from you. But I don't know, sometimes I guess it's I guess it's the writing part of me takes over, and so I want to follow it like I would if I were using a pen. But you have to keep in mind when you're doing um, lettering that it's not, you're not writing with a pen. You've got a brush in hand. And so I heard a girl say one time, you have to think of the letters not as letters, but as strokes, like what you use to paint the rest of your, in this particular case, door hanger, whether it's canvas or calligraphy or the door hanger. All right, now I'm going to start and go back that way just a little to get that right here in the L. When I pulled it around, I actually I didn't stop my brush. I picked it up before I stopped it, and so the end actually looked frayed, the end of my letter. So I just went back from the opposite direction and went that way. Wow, this letter L has a very skinny spot in it. I didn't really pay that any attention. I probably should have gotten, I think I have a 3 that's just a little bit smaller than this. So, all right, so we are about halfway through on our letters. One day I'll be quick at lettering. I am just not, I am not fast when it comes to doing the letters, but they say practice makes perfect. So I'm hoping over time, as I continue to do this, that I will get faster and faster. This poor brush has had some better days, and I probably, it's one of those brushes that I hate to get rid of because I've gotten kind of attached to it. It's become a favorite. Y'all, I'm sitting here noticing that I am pulling in the wrong direction for the letters. I'm like, you know what? I should be doing this the other way. But I don't know. It's one of those things when you start writing when you're a kid, your teacher, your parents, they don't want you to do it incorrectly, so they stay after you to hold the pencil correctly and to uh, turn the paper correctly. And I guess that's what I keep thinking about is, well, if I'm going in the opposite direction, that feels like it should work that way, but I actually should be going the other direction. Maybe I should be correcting myself so that way I'm learning good habits and not bad habits. I actually have found a lettering course that I want to take, and I'm hoping that I can do that fairly soon. So, because I feel like it would help me with my lettering. All right, so there's our welcome. So now I am. Sometimes I'll do the outlines with paint pens. Sometimes I'll do it with paint and uh, a round brush. Today I am going to do this with paint pens just because the lines are uh, fairly straight and simple lines. Sometimes I feel like they need the look of the thickness and thinness that you get with a brush. Just wanted to run over the little blue wings one more time. Okay, now then, look real quick at my picture. Okay, so I'm going to use a paint pen, and I'm going to do the outlines on this one. So let me grab my black paint pen. And I am going to start, I'm going to turn and just start at the top. And I'm going to outline the wings first. Now I know I just painted this, so I'm being very careful. All right, now right here in the center, and I'm looking, thinking I may wait just a few seconds because right there is still wet. So I'm going to go around the head. I normally try to anchor my pinky so that while I am drawing or tracing or outlining, the lines come out smoother that way. But here at the moment, I do not have a good place to anchor my pinky finger. Okay. All right, while I'm here on this end, I'm just going to start with the windshield, or not the windshield, the back window. And I'm just going to come down. And trace around the mirror. Sometimes it'll act like it's just about out of ink, and it's not so much that it is out of ink as it just needs to be shook up and have the juice engaged again. All right, I'm going to go around the honeycomb. I have a little bit thicker one, and I'm wondering, no. I was thinking for a minute, maybe a little bit thicker line around the honeycomb. But no, I really don't want a thicker line. Sometimes if I just go over it a second time, then I get the line that I'm really looking for. So I'll come back and go over that a second time in a little while. All right, I'm going to turn this way just a little bit and follow around the back window here and get him there. And then I'm going to turn him a little more, and I'm going to start around our honeycomb. Not honeycomb, the beehive. And I'm starting to lose. It's funny, as you've used the paint pen and you know it's getting closer and closer to the end, you find yourself having to put the cap back on and shake it up more. Oh, and that's incredibly important with paint pens. Put the cap on before you shake it up. All right, so now you can begin to see how it's all coming to life. I keep shaking that in the microphone on top of everybody, right in your ear, basically. I am so sorry. I forget about having the microphone so close with the setup that I'm using. I was using a microphone that was a little further away, and then we started having the issues with the waterfall sound, which was the hard drive, the fan for the hard drive coming on in the computer. So I changed and went to a different setup and put the microphone closer to me. Yep, it's just about time to collect another paint pen. We're going to see how much more we can get out of this one, though. Yes, I am one of those used to the very last drop kind of folks. All right. Okay. I'm going to straighten up my edge to the little opening here. And I have to shake the paint up in the pen. May have to find my red and go back over the taillights one more time. All right. So let's move to the bottom. And what I am going to do now is I'm going to do these lines just a little bit bolder. I said I wasn't going to use it on any of that up there, but I think I'm going to use it just a little bit here. This is actually a fatter paint pen that I have gotten a hold to, and I'm going to come down and do the lines on the truck bed in the fatter paint pen. I'm not going to do that on all of it, but I did want to do at least on that separation part, and I think I'm going to do here as well. Just going to come on around and get the outline of the truck in the fatter paint pen, and I'm going to come across the bottom. And then I'm going to finish out around the tag and around the bumper in in my smaller paint pen. So give it one more good shake. And we still have a few little highlights and things to do, so we're going to get that done, and then we will be wrapped up with our little truck and our little bee friend. Maybe he's moving his hive to a summer home. All right. Still need to go around the top part of the truck, but I'm going to hold off on that just for a minute. I'm going to see where I need to put my other highlight marks. I'm going to do some black marks in the honeycomb itself. That is, if the pen will survive. And I'm just looking at my example picture to see where they've included their marks. This is so cute. They just did a swirly for the face. And then for this stripe, they just did like a zigzag. So that's so cute. Oh, the wings. We got to remember the wings. There and there. And I'll have to go back over that. But I'll get that in just a minute. All right, so now I'm going to grab the white paint pen because we're going to do some highlight marks with it. So two things I want to do with the black paint pen still. Let's go around the outer edge up here. And then also, I've got to go around the tail lights. But I want to do one more coat of red on the tail lights before I call that one done. All right, so we're just going to put some marks here to kind of highlight. One or two on the mirror. Just so that you can see it's glass. And then we want to add some to our beehive. And of course, to the entryway. And the tires. Let me see if I can move this down far enough to show the tires. All right. And then maybe one or two there on the bumper. And I'm going to go ahead and add a couple to our little bee friend here. All right. Okay, let's see if I can get the pen to work long enough to go around the edge up here. If not, I will finish that up and then I'll post a picture of the completed. I think it's about time to retire this one. And instead of sitting here all night long shaking it up, we will just finish this up off camera and we'll post a picture of the final. All right, so let me see. I might can get enough out of it to go around the tail lights and finish them off. And then I'll just do the outer edge after we've wrapped up. All right, there we go. There's our little honeybee moving his beehive to maybe a summer home. Or maybe he's packing up and moving away from his summer home. Who knows? All right, well, thank y'all so much for watching this evening. Oh, hey, the Mailbox Delight winner. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. All right, so our Mailbox Delight winner for the month of April is, drumroll, Misty Faggard. Yay, Misty. Misty actually, these are actually a pair of earrings. She did not make them, but she sells them. And so it was so funny because I had put them on and then I did the little, there's a little thing online you can add the names in and it spins the wheel and leave it up to me to find some crazy gadget like that. And so it picked her name, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm wearing the earrings that I got from her. So, congratulations, Misty. There will be some little happy mail making its way to your mailbox this week. So just watch out for that Mailbox Delight. Now, to get into the monthly drawing for the Mailbox Delight, all you have to do is simply share with friends and family. Spread the love about quilted treasures and more. Don't forget to sign up for the giveaway, register for the giveaway for the 100 followers. Thank you giveaway, and it is for the next Door Dazzle box. So you'll be the winner will be receiving a a Door Dazzle box that's coming up next. And I'll go ahead and give you a hint. It is patriotic themed. So you'll be ready for Flag Day and 4th of July and Labor Day. So you'll be set for all the upcoming patriotic holidays. So register for that. You've got a few days. It started yesterday. I believe I did it for a total of either 4 or 5 days. So you've got till midweek to get registered. And don't forget daily entries. That increases your chance. So don't forget to check back each day and add in your daily entries. I hope y'all have a great week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.